Hi, I'm Tyson with Aviation Adventures, and I'm doing a little bit of cover crop today. You can see that the paint scheme on this airplane is a little different than the yellow one that I'm usually flying. This is an old firefighting airplane that the company has, and it already had a spreader on it. And so I just hopped in it to do a little cover crop here. But we're going to go with the theme of this airplane, and we're going to talk about firefighting today. Specifically, what it takes to get into a seat. That is something that I had wanted to do, and that's why originally I had gotten into this, was because I wanted to do the firefighting thing. Now, I've not done it, so take all of this with a grain of salt. I have a really good friend that does it, and he has been nice enough to sit on the phone with me and fill me in on it. Now, with the fact that I haven't done it myself, if any of this information is wrong, well, I'm sorry. But if you know it's wrong and you know the right answer, go ahead and leave a comment below and just let me know. Hey man, that time's not right, or actually this isn't right. But this guy that gave me the information, he's a pretty stand-up dude, so I'm pretty sure that this is going to be pretty accurate. But first things first, you need some hours to get into the firefighting. Specifically, these are just minimums, by the way, but you're looking at 1,500 hours, and out of that 1,500, you've got to have 1,200 hours in airplanes and 100 hours of low level, like fertilizing timber or spraying, 200 hours in a single engine airplane, and 40 hours in a make and model. Now with that 40 hours, that's kind of just insurance reasons for that. The company that my buddy's flying for, they require 500 hours in an 802. So that's not necessarily across the board that just because you have 40 hours, you'll be able to get in. But I have heard of companies that do hire with very low time or against that 40 hours. If you've got the 40, they'll take you. So yeah, you don't necessarily need a lot of time, but for some companies, you may need a lot of time. So with that, you also are going to need some mountain time, and that's defined in CFR 95 subpart B, but it's not necessarily like, oh, I need to go to Alaska or Colorado and fly in the mountains. They kind of define it there, and it is maybe just a little bit different than that, but you need 200 hours of mountain time, and if you take a mountain flying course, you can actually substitute 100 hours for that, so you just need 100 hours of mountain and then a mountain flying course as well. Alright, you have all of your hours, you're qualified, so what is the next step? Well, you need to be carded, so specifically level 2 carded, and how you do that is that you need to find a vendor, basically a company that can sponsor you to go to the National Aerial Firefighting Academy to be carded as a level 2 pilot. And for them to be a vendor, they have to actually have seats on a federal contract. So it's not just, well, hey, I know Tyson and he's a spray pilot, so I'm going to see if maybe he'll sponsor me, put in a good word for me. It's not exactly how it works. You do have to find a company that will send you there. Once you're there, now this class usually happens kind of in the springtime, around March, and it's a 2-day course. It's usually out west. I've always heard of it kind of in the Boise area, but I think that there's a possibility they may hold it in California as well. But it is out west, and you're going to go to that class. You're going to sit there for 2 days and learn a bunch of stuff. And after the 2-day course is through, you're going to take a check ride. And this check ride is going to be both oral as well as observed. So you're not going to actually have an examiner in the aircraft with you, but he's going to be on the ground watching you fly. So you're going to need to do some emergency drops, split drops, regular drop, as well as programming coordinates and programming radio frequencies. Once you pass that check ride, that is going to be good for 1 year. While we're on that, the course, the level 2 course that you took, that's good for 2 years. So if you take that course and you don't take a check ride right away, you are good for 2 years before you need to take the course again. So after you take the check ride, now you're a level 2 carded pilot, you can go and start fighting fires. Now there are some stipulations with this. As a level 2, you can actually not sit on a contract, meaning that you're going to probably be on call or a relief pilot. So how it works is that you work 12 days on and then you get 2 days off. Well, for those 2 days off, someone else is going to be flying your plane, and that's a relief pilot. So that first season usually is spent as a relief pilot, and once you get through with that, hopefully the goal is that you've done 25 drops during your time as a relief pilot your first season. So if you get those 25 drops, you then can go back to the National Firefighting or National Aerial Firefighting Academy, and you can go through the level 1 course. Now, something to mention about those 25 drops is that they are evaluated. So at the end of the day, you do go through with someone and they talk about what you did right, what you did wrong, what you can improve on, that kind of stuff. The level 1 course that you're going to go through is similar in that it's a 2-day course, and there is another check ride after the course. The check ride is similar to the first one that you took, and it's again oral as well as observed. Once you have your level 1 card, that's good for 3 years, so you don't need to take another check ride for 3 years. And with that level 1, that kind of opens up the world for you. So now you don't need to go and do relief, or you don't need to be on call if you don't want to, and you can actually go and sit on contracts. So what does that mean exactly? Well, what it means is that these people go out and usually they have a contract. And I say usually because my buddy that gave me all this information, he actually, he's on will call. So he didn't have a contract, but once it got busy enough for him to go somewhere, he went there. And at that point, he started working, and that's where he's been all summer long. Although it could change. I mean, if he needed to go somewhere else, he's in Utah, and if he needed to go somewhere else because there were fires somewhere else and they weren't burning in Utah and they called him up, he could absolutely go somewhere else too. But if you're on a contract, I believe at that point you are kind of, you're committed to the contract where they have you. So it could be a 90-day contract, 120-day contract. And how that works is that, like I said, you're on 12 days and you get 2 days off. You do get per diem, and it sounds like it's $150 across the board per diem. And then while you're on the contract, you do get paid $500 a day. However, I think that there are companies out there that will pay a little bit less. It sounds like $500 is the top tier, and it sounds like that's what most people pay. However, there are people that do pay less. And then when you get in the airplane and you are flying and you're putting fires out, you're then getting paid $500 per hour. Again, that's top tier. It sounds like that's the standard. However, there are companies out there that are not the standard, and they may pay a little bit less. What does this actually equate to? Well, I've talked to probably 4 different people about this, just the general pay that you can expect, and it is a lot like the ag side of things, in that nothing's guaranteed. You could have a really bad season, or you could have a really great season. I mean, this year, if you're out west, it seems like everywhere out west is currently on fire, and so that is going to probably be a really great year for some of those guys. But if you are on a contract where maybe you're in Nebraska, well, maybe there's no fires going on in Nebraska this year. At that point, you are only making your $150 a day per diem, as well as the $500 a day while you're on the contract. So if you're on a 90-day contract, that's going to be $45,000 that you make. If you don't actually end up doing any flying because there's not any fire. So I have actually heard of people doing that, where they went out for the summer to fight fires, and they did not ever fly because there was no fire. So that's kind of the chance you take. However, there's also guys that I've heard of, or people that will make really good money. Maybe they make $150,000, $160,000 in the summer because it was a busy fire season, and where they were stationed was a really great place, and they got to fly a ton. So it's a little bit of luck of the draw, as well as what the weather's going to do. But unfortunately, the only thing that's guaranteed is that the daily rate that you're going to get while you're on the contract. Better than ag, though. I mean, I don't get paid anything unless I'm actually out spraying, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, I guess that's what you can kind of expect. It may be really low, or it may be really high, or somewhere in between. But it does kind of sound like an average is maybe 100 or 125,000. It sounds like that's kind of a little bit of an average in there that people can expect to make. Although, like I said, there have been people that have not made very much at all because they have not flown. Hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of an idea on what you need to do to get into it with minimums and what you can expect once you're there. If you have any questions about it, please leave them in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you. Also, like I said, if there's been some information that is not entirely accurate or that you know is different, just let me know. Leave it in the comment section below so that other people can see it. Also, if you like these videos and you like us, follow us on Instagram. Callie's always posting over there. She does a lot with stories and photos, so if you like that kind of stuff, find us at Aviation Adventures, as well as on Facebook. If you like these videos, definitely give them a thumbs up, as well as subscribe. We'd love the support. Again, I'm Tyson with Ag Aviation Adventures. Fly low and fly fast.